All right, hello guys. Today we are talking all about how a mountaineer can structure out their strength workouts. Now, the reason I want to talk about this today is because it seems like the mountaineering world is very sold on one particular approach to their strength training, which is a bit of an old school approach. And this leads to a lot of people wasting a lot of time in the gym and just not really getting the most out of their workouts and their workout time as they possibly could. So today I want to talk you through a different process of actually putting together your strength workouts in which you can fit a lot more into your training in a shorter amount of time, which is a very effective way of going about your training. So to start things off, a little introduction. If you don't know me, my name is Rowan Smith. I'm the founder of Summit Strength, which is a personal training service for trekkers and mountaineers. I apply strength and conditioning principles into the mountaineering world in order to try and bring the training for mountaineers into a modern day. Basically, my big thing is getting people fit, strong, and resilient for their dream adventures. Now, I'm a firm believer that every single mountaineer should be doing some type of strength training in their preparation. You'd be absolutely mental not to. And I've previously done a video that goes in depth around the benefits of that. So I won't dive into that too much today. But basically, when it comes to actually putting your strength workouts together, most mountaineers tend to be stuck with one or two pretty old school and approaches. So one approach was very much popularized by uphill athletes who are sort of leaders in strength conditioning for mountaineers. And another approach has sort of crept up in modern days, which a lot of general pop people do. And a lot of mountaineers seem to be following that approach as well, which isn't incredibly effective. So today I want to talk you through a bit of a better way, which is used in the strength and conditioning world. It's used for athletes all around the world, and it's very appropriate and very effective for mountaineers who want to get a bit more out of their training. So to start with, I just want to run you through a few elements of a successful strength workout, things that you need in your strength workouts to really make sure you get an effective workout. Number one, you need a balance of exercises. So that's pretty simple. You want to be making sure there's a balance in your lower body, between all the exercises doing the front of the body and the back of the body. If you're doing whole body workouts, you want to make sure there's a balance between upper and lower body exercises. You want to be making sure you're fitting in some core or accessory work in there. You probably want to be fitting some other stuff as well. So you want to be balancing everything out, and that is pretty important. Number two, when you're doing strength training, particularly when you're developing maximum strength, which is very relevant for mountaineers, you need to be having long rest periods in between sets of each exercise. So when it comes down to the science of this, you need 2 minutes as a minimum, if not 3 minutes, in between each set of a particular exercise you're doing. If you're not taking that time, you are compromising your strength development, meaning all the effort that you're putting in, you're not getting the best results you can. Many mountaineers tend to do 60 to 90-second rest periods, but that's not an effective way of training. You need to have 2 minutes as a minimum. And that is such an important point to make when you're doing your max strength training. Next one, you want the workouts to be time efficient. So in all honesty, we don't want to be spending hours in the gym like bodybuilders do. We want to make sure everything's condensed and as time efficient as possible. I'll say as a rule of thumb, if you're spending more than 60 minutes in the gym doing your strength workouts, that's from start of your warm-up to finish of your cool down, you are spending too much time, in all honesty, and you need to condense things down. You need to make a bit more time efficient. Plenty of people spend more time in the gym, like bodybuilders and that, and they'll spend hours and hours at a time, or powerlifters. But for you as an athlete, you don't need to be doing that. And yeah, it just gets boring and it's not efficient. So if you're spending more than 60 minutes in the gym doing your strength workout, there's a better way, and you've got to figure that out. And also you need to be able to progress these workouts over time. So it needs to be structured in a certain way in which you can clearly see if you're improving day to day. So can you put more weight on? Can you change an exercise? Can you add extra reps? Whatever it is, but it needs to be structured in a way that you can progress over time. And that is very crucial for a mountaineer's success. And then the last point here is it's just not boring. Like, mountaineers have a hard enough time doing strength work. I completely understand that. And so you want to find a structure which is just not boring. It's not sucking your soul when you're in there, and it's not the dullest thing in the world. So that's what you want to be thinking about. Now, on top of that, that's an element of a successful strength workout. But you want to take a good workout and make it great and make it a really all world-class workout. There's a couple of extra things you want to be fitting in. Number one, you want to be fitting in some type of accessory exercises, which is going to be a rehab, a prehab, or a core exercise. So whether you've got a bit of an injury history and you've been given exercises from a physio that you want to be fitting in through your week, or whether you have recently had an injury and you're trying to come back from that, or whether you're just trying to get incorporate a bit of extra core work into your training, you need to be doing that in your strength workouts. I'm not a huge fan of doing this type of stuff in their own sessions. It can work, but most people tend to not be incredibly disciplined with this. It's a bit of a time suck. And in all honesty, it's not great. But if you're doing a couple of strength workouts a week and you can fit these exercises into your strength workouts as part of it, that's going to be amazing. And then finally, you want to be fitting in some mobility work as well. So most people have some mobility restrictions in one way or another. And the key to mobility and improving the range of motion is exposure, meaning you need to be doing multiple exposures of mobility work and stretching in order to change that over time. If you're just doing a couple of stretches a week, it's not going to do anything. So while I encourage doing full body stretching and full stretching sessions for mountaineers as part of their recovery, also if you can fit mobility in during the strength workouts as part of that workout to give more dose and more exposure, you're going to get more results from that. So that's what you want to be fitting in as well. So the old school approach, which many mountaineers are going to be familiar with, and this is probably what most people do, which I see, there's probably 99% of the workout plans online are like this. And also this tends to be the way that a lot of mountaineering specific workout plans are written up. Basically, this is sort of how it looks like. You have a bit of a warm up, whatever that might be. You start on one exercise. Let's say it's a squat. You do 5 reps of your squat. You have a 2-minute rest. You do your squat again, 2-minute rest, squat again, 2-minute rest, squat again, rest. Move on to the next exercise, do exactly the same thing. Next exercise, exactly the same thing. Next one, exactly the same thing. Then at the end of the workout, that might be the time where you want to fit in that accessory work or that core work. So you might do some, mini band walks or rotator cuff work, whatever. And then at the end, you say, I'm going to have a 10-minute stretch. That is so common. That's in super common for mountaineers and people just in general, and you'll all be pretty familiar with this type of approach. But while it does work, it does have a lot of drawbacks, which I'm going to go through right now. So number one, it just takes forever. It's not time efficient way of training, and it really does suck a lot of time out of your day doing all those rest periods like that. Let me break this down just to sort of give you a bit of a rundown. So if you're doing a set of 5 exercises, 5 repetitions, it'll probably be about 30 seconds. Then you can have a 2-minute rest. So it's about 2.5 minutes per set, per exercise. If you're doing 4 sets of each exercise, that takes 12 minutes to get through each exercise. So 12 minutes for your squats, 12 minutes for your pull-ups, 12 minutes for your deadlifts, 12 minutes for your dips, which work out to be 48 minutes just to do 4 exercises. Then you might do 5 minutes of accessory work at the end. Then you might do 10 minutes of stretching at the end. And that works out to be 63 minutes to do 4 strength exercises, a little bit of accessory work, a little bit of stretching. And that's not including your warm-up. Now, that's something really common. A lot of people do, but it's a big time suck. And imagine doing that week after week after month after month. That's going to be a huge time commitment to fit in that work. So it is a really inefficient way of training when it comes to time. Number 2, boredom. So just sitting around in those rest periods can get pretty boring, which leads to 2 different things from mountaineers. Number 1, people will be like, you know what, I'm feeling recovered, I'm ready to go. And they'll just shorten that rest period down to 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and go again. But as I said previously, if you do that approach, that's going to be compromising your strength gains and compromising the results you're getting out of this session. So it's not a good thing. On the other hand, people sticking to that rest period, they'll often get distracted because what are you going to do for 2 minutes? So they'll sit on their phone, they'll have a chat with someone, yada, and they'll basically lose that focus in the workout. And if you're an athlete, if you're a mountaineer, training up for a particular goal, you need to have your focus in your workouts. You need to have that vision, know exactly what you're in. You need to stay in the game so you can perform at your best during the exercises so they can transfer onto the mountain as best as you can. So if you're getting distracted on your phone during these rest periods, not a great thing. The other ones are fatigue. By the time you get through those 4 exercises or however many you're doing, generally people are going to be pretty tired. Like, strength training isn't easy. You're going to be tired. So that leads to when by the time you get to your accessory work, either it's going to be inefficient, meaning you're going to be pre-fatigued, you're not going to do the exercises so well. Maybe you're going to rush through it because you're like, the end is in sight. I'm just going to try and get through this as quickly as I can. And it's a bit of an afterthought. Or even you might just skip it. You're like, you know what, I've had enough. And that's not a great thing. And then mobility is more often than not seen as an afterthought. If you've got that 10-minute stretching at the end, more than likely you're just going to say, you'll do it a couple of times, but if you're in a bit of a rush, or if you're tired, if you've got something coming up or whatever, you'll skip it, then you'll skip it again, skip it again, and then it becomes just something you never do. And it's not something we want. If you're trying to improve your mobility, you need to be consistent with it. So it does have quite a few problems there. And then finally, this is a bodybuilding approach. This is what bodybuilders do because they spend 2 hours in the gym every single day. They love it. That's their social scene. That's their life. As a mountaineer, this isn't for you. And 100%, I don't think it's a very great approach for you. Now, the other approach I often see from mountaineers these days is the HIIT approach, which is incredibly popular. Now, this comes in a whole bunch of different guises, but it'll often look like something a bit of just a mishmash of different exercises. So an example I often see is something like a squat, a pull-up, then a V-sit, and then they'll do like a run or a row or something like that. And while this might look great from first glance, squats, lower body, upper body, core, a bit of cardio, yeah, that will be tough. That can be a good workout, but that run is going to compromise your squats. And there's not enough rest. There's not enough structure. It's not really a great way of going about it. There's a million and one ways these high intensity interval training or the HIIT approach really goes into strength training. And there's a pyramid workouts, ladder workouts, AMRAP workouts. There's a million and one ways people do this, even just time circuits for 45 seconds of work. But in all honesty, them as a whole, it's not a great way of training your strength as a mountaineer. Now, main problems, number one, no structure. So if your workout is changing every single day you do, if your workout's just, not having consistency, you're not going to get incredible benefits. Sure, it's going to be hard. You probably will get stronger, but the body needs consistency to thrive, to get better, to get stronger. And you need to be progressing things week by week by week. That is what the body needs. If you're doing random workouts, it's not a good way of training, and it's just not incredibly relevant for you. There's not enough rest in this period. So if you're breaking this up, the run is going to absolutely knacker you, meaning it's going to compromise your squats, it's going to compromise your pull-ups, and anything when you're mixing cardio and strength training, it's not a great way to go about it. It might be good cardio, but it's not good strength training. So that's not what you want for your strength development. With these types of workouts, with any type of HIIT training, you're literally just trying to chase fatigue, meaning if you're tired by the end of the workout, it was a good workout. Doesn't mean if you did things well, doesn't mean if you perform well, doesn't mean if you lifted weight. If you're tired, that is a good workout, and that is not a good approach for you. And then these approaches generally don't come with any room for accessory and mobility. So, they might get tacked on the end, but it's not so good. As you can probably tell, I'm not a fan of this approach. If you're a mountaineer and you're going about this for your strength training, you need to find a different way, because it's not an effective way for your sport. It's not an effective way for long term, and you need to be changing this up. So now I've had my little rant about that. We're going to tell you exactly how you can go about this bit more modern approach to structuring out your strength workouts. So the new school approach is something that's called sequencing. So basically what this is going to be doing in general principle is it's going to be taking the rest periods that you're filling up, those 2-minute rest periods, 3-minute rest periods, and it's going to be filling it up with other productive exercises. So you're not sitting on your bum, just playing on your phone, but you're actually working throughout every single minute of your workout and using that time productively. So this is one example of a sequence I'll often use with my mountaineers. So start off warm-up, whatever your warm-up looks like. I'm going to do another video on that in another time. But then your first little sequence here sort of looks like a circuit, but with a little bit more thought. First exercise is a lower body exercise. That might be a squat or something like that. Second exercise is an upper body exercise. That might be a pull-up. Third exercise is an accessory exerise. That could be rehab, prehab, core. Let's say it's going to be a dead bug here. And the last one's going to be a mobility exercise. Let's say it's going to be hip mobility. Now, the beauty here is you're going to do your lower body exercise. That's going to take you 30 seconds or something. Then you're, instead of sitting around for your 2 minutes, you're going to fill up that 2-minute, 3-minute rest period with these other exercises. So you're going to do your upper body exercise. Then you're going to do your accessory, then your mobility. The beauty here is the upper body is not really going to be incredibly affected by the pre-fatigue from the lower body. So you're still going to be able to perform well at that. And then the accessory and the mobility, they're very, very low load, very, very low effort exercises. So they're pretty much full rest for you. So by the time you get back to your squats in the first one, you're fresh, you're ready to go, you've had that rest, you can perform at your best. But we've also sort of fit in everything in that rest period, made it very, very condensed and very, very time efficient. So you don't get bored, so you use the best use of your time, and it's a really, really great way. And then you'd move on to a B sequence after that. You do like 4 or 5 sets of that, you move into something similar. So this would be another lower body exercise, maybe a single leg deadlift, an upper body exercise, maybe a dip, an accessory exercise, maybe a side plank, mobility exercise, maybe you're working on ankle mobility. You do the same thing and you break that up, bang, 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 bang. And then finally, this is optional. You could do another sequence exactly the same if you had the time and fit in a C sequence. Or for me, I quite like just to do a bit of endurance work here, or a bit of a cardio finisher or something like that. So this might be 10 minutes of step ups, or it might be a bit of sled work, or it might be just doing some, some quick sprints on the bike or something like that, depending on what you're looking for and what you're trying to fit in. But as you can see, that fits in a whole bunch of work into your week. And it can be a really, really effective way of going about it. Now, how we're going to break this up into time-wise, just to give you a little bit of an example. So, for example, your lower body exercise is going to take 30 seconds. probably 30 seconds. You're probably going to want like, 20, 30-second rest in between your squats and your pull-ups. So that's 30 seconds again. Your upper body exercise will take 30 seconds. Your accessory exercise will take 60 seconds. Your mobility will take 60 seconds. So when we break that up, but each set that you're doing, so that's fitting in 4 different exercises. That's 3.5 minutes to get through 4 exercises. Do 4 sets of that. That's going to work out to be 14 minutes. Do another sequence of that. So that's going to be 8 exercises in total that you fit in for 4 sets of 8 exercises. That's 28 minutes. Do a finisher for 10 minutes. That's going to work out to be 38-minute workout, not including a warm-up. Now, compared to that 63-minute workout in the bodybuilding thing where we're doing even less work, we're doing more work here for less amount of time. Now, obviously, there's going to be, setting up equipment and everything that might add a few extra minutes. But as you can see, this is a lot more efficient. It's a lot more effective at fitting everything in. But you also get the repeated exposures to the accessory and mobility work and all that stuff that you generally will skip out on. So there are a number of different ways of going about this sequencing. So that's just one way I quite like it. I'm going to give you another examples, which might be a bit more relevant for you, or you can have a play around with. The first one is if you don't want to do any upper body training, and if you're purely just sitting on lower body, you might do a lower body exercise, then then accessory exercise, then a mobility exercise. So it might be 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 60 seconds. You're still going to get your 2-minute rest, and then you go back and you repeat that. No upper body, but that's still pretty effective, and that's still filling up that rest period with productive things. Another way of going about it, if you're really, really strapped for time and say you only had 15, 20, 25 minutes to fit in a proper strength workout, you might do this, and you might have a warm-up, and then you're going to fit in your lower body push and a lower body pull accessory mobility. So that'll be like a squat, maybe it's deadlift, maybe a plank, and maybe some type of thoracic mobility or something like that. Now you can do this 4 or 5 times and then walk out of the gym. You've hit everything you need for a lower body session. Very, very effective. With this one scene, if you're doing a push and a pull movement, so you're doing the front and the back of your body, that's still going to be relatively effective in the sense that you're not going to pre-fatigue muscles, because there's going to be working different muscles, so you can break it up like that, and that is a very, very time-effective way of doing it. Another one is if you're looking at a muscular endurance workout, so something that's just trying to get a lot more repetitions and a lot more time under tension on those muscles. So if you're in your later prep or just trying to build up some endurance, this might be something like this, where you do A1 is a lower body push, a double leg, so maybe a squat. A2 is a lower body pull, double leg, maybe that's a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift. A3 is a lower body push. This one's on a single leg, so that might be a lunge or a walking lunge or something like that. And A4 is a lower body pull, which is going to be maybe a single leg deadlift or a single leg hip thrust or something like that. And then you have your accessory, because you probably need a rest by then, and you go do that again. So that's going to be a lot of endurance, a lot of repetitions, but it's a really easy way of fitting in. So hopefully you can see with these sequences, they are much more effective in way of fitting a lot of work in, a lot smarter and a lot more time efficient. And in all honesty, in my personal opinion, every single mountaineer should be using these for their strength training. So to wrap things up before we finish things off, number one, just don't train like a bodybuilder. If you're getting programs off the internet which look like a bodybuilding program, or if you're spending more than 60 minutes in the gym, you need to find a better way. Don't train like a general population or just an everyday Joe trying to lose weight or get fit. That high intensity approach can work for people to lose weight and get fit. But as an athlete, you need to be training like an athlete. If your workouts are written up on a whiteboard when you walk in there, if you're doing random workouts day to day, or if you're trying to train alongside people who are literally trying to lose weight and get fit, you need a different workout. Use sequencing to your advantage. There's a whole bunch of different ways of going about this, but the sequences are the way to go. This is how strength conditioning people train. This is how top athletes train. This is how you should be training as a mountaineer. Choose which is appropriate for you. Like, in all honesty, if you love the bodybuilding approach and that's what you're comfortable with and that's what you absolutely love, go for it. I personally think the sequencing is a lot better, but do what is appropriate for you. And if you enjoy the approach, bodybuilding or sequencing, go for it. Hit, no. I will not say do that, because that's not a good way of training. And then go in with intent. No matter what approach you do, just make sure you're going in with the idea of, I'm training for my adventure. I'm training to get fit, strong, resilient for my mountain. I'm going in to put my head down and work. I'm not going to faff around, not going to waste time. I'm not going to play on my phone. I'm going in to train. So if you did want to learn a little bit more about this, if you did have any questions, feel free to swing me an email at rowan@summitstrength.com.au. I'm always happy to chat about this. Alternatively, if you did need help putting together a program and putting together a strength training program for your preparations for your mountaineering adventure, alternatively an entire program, you can email me as well, or look me up at summitstrength.com.au. That is what I do, strength conditioning for trekkers and mountaineers. I firmly believe applying some of these strength conditioning principles into your preparation can be so incredibly effective. And if we can take the mountaineering preparation out of the dark ages into the 21st century, we'll be going a long way. So I really hope you've enjoyed this today. If you do have any questions, reach out to me. But if not, we'll talk to you very soon. Bye.